For this video, I am going to share what we're using for morning basket. Morning basket is something that I have done in our homeschool for years. I read Cindy Rollins' book and really was inspired by that. I learned about it, I think, first from Sarah Mackenzie, from the Read Aloud revival, and I've really enjoyed it. I have noticed over the past year, as my kids have gotten older, that our morning meeting has changed. And I really wanted to take the feeling that I was getting there on that sense of change and run with it and see if we could really change up what we're doing in Morning Basket instead of continuing to do the style that we've done. So in order to incorporate some of those changes, I have made the following choices. I've shown this before, but this is our family morning meeting binder, and I just put anything in here that we would want to review. So I have a notebook with our drill information. I have all of our Bible verses in here for us to review. I have our hymns that are, here, I'll show you. I have our hymns that are in plastic covers, and I have all of the poems that we've memorized. So as we review and do our loop, we can come back to poems that we learned years ago and our Old Testament Bible verses that we've learned years ago. And so I just keep this with me for our review purposes. So for our Bible time, which is a core component of our morning time, we have this contemporary English version that is illustrated. We put tabs on all of the books of the Bible so that while my kids have memorized them in order, it just makes it easier to get to the different sections. And we are just going to read through the Bible together, just read the stories together. And this is just going to be our core Bible curriculum. I also have these two. I think I shared this one in last year's video. This is Louis Giglio's book, and we did not get to it last year. So it's just a really simple, every day we read something about the wonder of God's creation and about his character. So I thought this would just be fun to go through together. And then in addition to that, I have no idea how I got this. I think maybe my in-laws gave it to me. It is very old. It is, here's the proof, it couldn't just happen, Faith Building Evidences for Young People. It is a lot more in-depth than this one is, but similar idea of sharing God's character and the creation around us. So it has the Bible verses, and then it has a scientific explanation. And once we finish this devotion, we'll go more in depth with this. And it's a slow moving thing. I would imagine this would probably move into next year, actually. So it's just the Bible first and foremost, and then reading a bit in this till we finish that, and then moving into that. Another core component of our morning meeting is hymns. Just for ease of use, I just use Happy Hymnody's printout and their hymns. They have a YouTube channel, and I pair it with our book, Then Sings My Soul by Robert Morgan. If the hymn isn't here, then we use this to find out more about the hymn. And it's just nice. We can play it and listen to it and have the words in front of us, because it has another printable for each one of these with words. And so we may follow this exactly for the fall, but some of these we didn't do since we don't do school during the summer in a full format. And so I may go back and get one of these. And so we'll just kind of see what we like out of this. And then of course in December they'll post the one for next year. Another core component of our morning meeting is memory work. And so I just have this very loose schedule of what it is that we want to memorize this year. And so we have The Village Blacksmith, a poem by Longfellow, but we're going to review the Beatitudes. We memorized them last year, and so they're in here, but they're the newest thing we've memorized. And so I just want to make sure that we are reviewing that in addition to anything else that loops in our binder. Jabberwocky is another poem that is a newly learned one, and so we'll review that, and then I will add something new, or we'll continue the Village Blacksmith. I have this Ralph Waldo Emerson poem that we're going to memorize in November. We learned Luke 2 last year, but we're going to revisit that in December. We're going to start on the Gettysburg Address. I'm going to hope that we get to a Maya Angelou poem. I haven't quite decided yet. I have a couple in the running, but I didn't want to put us into that since February is so far away. And we will just continue to work on this Gettysburg Address. I left March open in case there was some flow over, or, you know, I can just determine something that we can memorize here, and then in April we're going to learn Langston Hughes. So that's the general plan. It is a mixture of poems and historical significant speeches and Bible verses. Just knowing that we're always reviewing Bible verses and poetry that we've learned in years previous, as well as learning something new. The last, what I would consider core part to our morning meeting, is what I would call drills. It is 30 days has September, cool ways to remember stuff. While in years past we've really been structured in our drills, we're kind of getting away from that, and so I just thought it would be fun to work through this book together. It has homophones and just all kinds, you know, memorizing the presidents, and it just gives you little mnemonic methods for memorizing the Roman emperors, for instance. The continents, the oceans, which we kind of know, but again, some of this is going to be review and some of it will be new, and we're just going to flip through this. I was wrong, there's one more core part to our family morning meeting, and that is our liturgical year. So someone asked me to do a video on this, and so I hope to be able to get to that. But the idea here is when we get to September, I come in here and pull all of this out and put it into my planner for September. And it is making apples and doing Rosh Hashanah. But the important thing here is that we have books that we come back to every year and read. How to Make an Apple Pie, Johnny Appleseed, Apples by Gail Gibbons. So books that we come to every single month on a repeating cycle throughout the year. And so I just want to have more time. I felt like last year, because we were doing so much in morning time, that we weren't really getting to these cyclical picture books that we like to do. And even though my kids are getting older, it still is just such a wonderful memory making and building upon year after year additional things that we can do. And so I just want to make sure that I prioritize that this year. Next, we have what I call looping. So this is not something that we would get to every day, possibly not every week, but I just wanted to do some math teasers. I was inspired by The Good and the Beautiful has this mental math part of their math program, and it looks beautiful. There's a map, you get stickers, and you kind of move your stickers along this map. But for me to get that just by itself, because I've ordered everything that I wanted for the year from The Good and the Beautiful, the shipping exceeded the cost of just the mental math. And so it ends up that I found this in a little free library. And so I grabbed it, and it's just fun kind of math teasers. And we're just gonna use these as a brain warm-up. And then I got this Basics of Critical Thinking book from Amazon. It's great because it's grades 4 to 9. And we will just, again, not do this every day, possibly not every week, but go through this logic book and start learning about different arguments and critical thinking techniques. Last year we spent a lot of time on painters. I know I usually try to do some composers and some painters, and I was finding that I was kind of feeling pulled in both directions. So last year we focused on painters, and this year I want to focus on famous composers. So I have these two reference books. This is an Usborne book that has QR links, and so we will just move through different composers. We also have this Story of the Orchestra, which I will go through and pair. So we'll be learning about the instruments as we're learning about composers. I'm just sharing these for this video, but we have more of these, about I don't know, 7 or 8 that I've collected year over year. But these are the Opal Wheeler and Sybil Ducher books, and they are all the different great composers. So I think they have them, Zizak is the publishing company, I think they have them for a lot, but again, I only have about 7 or 8. So I will go through and choose just for the month. Okay, in December we'll do Handel, and we'll listen to the Messiah, and we'll learn about him, and just kind of go through and figure out when we want to do which composer and deep dive on that composer. Ambleside Online provides some resources for deep diving into specific composers and some links and resources. And so I will make sure that I figure out, okay, if this is the month we're doing Handel, let's get the printables and the kind of podcast websites that they offer on Ambleside Online and pair that with this book and listen to the music and just do that. And we'll listen to probably about one composer every probably 4 to 6 weeks will be the plan for the year. And then lastly, I really wanted to, again, focus on our core of Bible time and hymns and memory work with some drills in there, and with our yearly liturgical cycle that we do, pull in the loop of the composers and some of the math teasers and all of that kind of stuff. But I also really wanted something to bring in a fresh new flavor. I really love these Edith Holden books, and my kids were looking at these and said, we really would like to do something like this. And so I thought that maybe while we're listening to the music of the composers, instead of just listening to snippets, I would just turn on a station on Apple Music that has just that composer and just give each of my kids a notebook and let them do some nature journaling while listening to the music, and just have a small little note. May 1st, this is what the weather was, and this is kind of what we experienced, because I feel like we're kind of flying through things sometimes instead of just sitting in it. And this really encourages us to sit in it. So I really want this to be something that we don't squeeze in, but that it becomes something that we enjoy and do as part of our morning time. That as my youngest is still in elementary school and my oldest is not yet in high school, that we really kind of slow down and take some time focusing on what's going on in our little corner of earth, and pair that with music, but really spend some time in doing nature study and journaling. Be sure to check out the other videos that are in my homeschool curriculum choices video playlist that I have linked, and feel free as always to leave comments or questions about them. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.